Gildan Media, a division of Recorded Books, presents the Everything Coaching and Mentoring Book, How to Increase Productivity, Foster Talent, and Encourage Success, by Nicholas Nigro, narrated by Walter Dixon. Top 10 Reasons Why Coaching and Mentoring Bests Traditional Managing. 1. It maximizes overall performance results by appreciating each employee as an individual with unique talents and possibilities. 2. It delegates challenging job roles and tasks while setting bold but realistic goals for every employee. 3. It expands knowledge and grows skills of employees and managers alike, thus enhancing their job futures. 4. It establishes and maintains an open work environment with free-flowing dialogue and constructive feedback. 5. It enhances communication abilities, both written and oral. 6. It seeks solutions and positive outcomes to any and all workplace situations, including conflicts. 7. It links workplace performance growth with personal growth. 8. It recognizes the need for properly balanced work and home lives. 9. It works with comprehensible, achievable performance plans for employees so they always know where they stand. 10. It sweetens company bottom lines and efficiency. Introduction. Getting persons of any age to perform at their utmost is a bona fide challenge for those in tutelage roles, be they in the home, on the sports field, or at the workplace. Keeping a diverse staff of employees both contented and focused on the work at hand is a job that's not for the faint-hearted. As fate would have it, there is an increasingly utilized managerial methodology that meets these weighty challenges head-on and with a proven track record of success. This coveted managerial roadmap, known as coaching and mentoring, essentially asks that its devotees conscientiously manage men and women as distinct individuals with unique talents and possibilities. With the baby boom generation poised to retire en masse from the workforce in the coming years, businesses will need to replace a wholesale brain drain of knowledge and skills. They will accomplish this in part by requiring their managers to be coaches. They will also need organizational mentors to pass down wisdom and know-how to the younger crowd. Right now, locating and maintaining the necessary critical talent to keep companies at once profitable and competitive is a huge concern. Thus, coaching and mentoring as a far-sighted replacement for the old style of managing has assumed center stage. Unlike traditional managerial ways and means, coaching and mentoring instills in employees knowledge and skills that both enhance the present and augment the future. Successful managing in any venue is an art form. In the new millennium, managing men and women demands a whole lot more than technical proficiency and a loud, booming voice. To get the most out of their people, managers must appreciate the intricacies and depth of the human condition. A one-size-fits-all approach to managing staff just doesn't cut it anymore. In fact, it never really did make much sense, nor did it maximize dollars and cents. And that's what more and more executive decision-makers are seeing. To maximize the performance of your team, you must uncover what makes each and every one of your players tick. You've got to locate the keys that unlock their drive to succeed. And the only way you can possibly realize this goal is by closely working with every person in your charge, on an individual basis. From the many on your team, you can accomplish one very satisfying result. Sure, coaching and mentoring as managerial disciplines aren't textbook solutions to every problem. People are, after all, a very imperfect and unpredictable bunch. Ironically, though, this is an essential tenet of coaching and mentoring. Yes, you heard it right. Coaching and mentoring tools and techniques are people-driven, warts and all. Their managerial formulas are firmly grounded in fashioning contented and personally nourishing work atmospheres, while simultaneously making employees more productive. This highly resourceful and enlightening approach to managing individuals fully understands that these two positive results are not mutually exclusive. In fact, the chief reason that coaching and mentoring in management are becoming more widespread as accepted business approaches is precisely because their implementation is proving highly effective in spurring employees to produce favorable results. Companies that employ coaches as managers, bring in external coaches as consultants, or utilize mentors are not motivated by mere altruism. No matter what anybody says, businesses exist, first and foremost, to sweeten bottom lines. Coaches and mentors in management roles seek to amplify human possibilities while simultaneously recognizing the consequence of profit maximization. By accepting the connection between employee job satisfaction and overall performance and level of productivity, coaching and mentoring offer new and improved ways of managing human beings. What it all comes down to is coaching and mentoring endeavors to find solutions and positive outcomes anywhere and everywhere. This is the foundation upon which this innovative managerial art rests. Chapter 1: The Brave New World of Coaching and Mentoring. Building a Coaching Vocabulary. There are coaches who operate as independent consultants, and rather high-paid ones at that. Brought into companies from the outside, these are men and women who address specific problems ranging from the highly technical to the more abstract, like communication deficiencies and morale issues. And then there are mentors within companies, usually highly regarded top managers, who take carefully selected subordinates under their wings and groom them for bigger and better things in a rather informal, open-ended relationship. Fact. The English word mentor is derived from Homer's Odyssey. In this literary classic, Odysseus ventures off to war and turns the guidance of his young son Telemachus over to his friend Mentor. In the absence of his father, the boy is mentored by Mentor in the ways of the world. The sum and substance of this book revolves around coaching and mentoring applied to managing on a day-to-day basis. That is, on the ABCs of coaching as a managerial art that distinguishes itself from traditional managing. Indeed, coaching and daily managing are no longer strangers, but a very compatible, happy couple. So, from this point onward, sole references to coaches, without any qualifiers, will refer to the managers who are employing, or hope to employ, this enlightened and fast-spreading managerial methodology on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, coaching is grounded in continuity and consistency across the board. It's not a pick-and-choose managerial approach, but a way of life in the office, or wherever else it is practiced. A manager who says to an employee, "Let's have a coaching session now," is not engaged in the art of coaching. Throughout this book, you will also encounter perpetual references to coaching and mentoring to depict an all-inclusive managerial discipline, even though coaching and mentoring are not exactly the same thing. Understanding the benefits of coaching. Exactly what are the benefits of being a manager and a coach at the same time? For starters, coaches who get the utmost out of their employees realize the personal and professional satisfaction of seeing their managerial talents bear real fruit. Additional benefits that accrue to successful coaches include a pat on the head from the executive class, nice, financial remuneration, nicer still, and sometimes even a promotion, how sweet it is. And if none of these things come your way, battle-tested and results-oriented coaches can always take their formidable track records of managerial accomplishments somewhere else. Capable coaches with tried-and-true accomplishments on their resumes are in high demand on the corporate frontier. They are rare birds indeed. When you demonstrate that you can manage men and women with supreme confidence as well as deliver the goods, you can, in effect, write your own career script. Essential. If New York is the city that never sleeps, then coaching and mentoring are the managerial methods that never sleep. Their tools and techniques are rooted in never-ending learning, and this continuous learning requires that coaches, mentors, and employees alike view the workplace as a learning hub without knowledge boundaries. The piece de resistance of first-rate coaching is its many tentacles. That is, high-performing employees are similarly put on the fast track of personal growth and career advancement. If you boldly delegate real responsibilities and challenge your employees to better themselves, you, as a conscientious coach, grow their skills and make them more self-sufficient and productive workers. In other words, employees who respond favorably to a coach's guardianship are destined to rise in the company, or perhaps in another company that is on the prowl for self-motivated, solid talent. In the big picture, coaching and mentoring methods are designed to better the lot of one and all under their attentive thumb. Simply stated, the coaching and mentoring learning tree avails its fruit to those who are willing to sample it. Adept coaches, as well as those on the receiving end of their intelligent, devoted leadership, are always poised to move on to the next level of learning and of skills. The coach-employee relationship, and the learning environment that's part and parcel of it, embodies not only career growth and hopefully a fatter paycheck, but a rewarding interior journey as well, where all concerned feel better about themselves and what they do. And this job satisfaction cuts across their professional lives and into their personal lives. The bottom line? Reliable, results-oriented coaches can always take pride in the knowledge that they inspired people to perform at higher levels than they otherwise would have if left to their own devices. Coaching and mentoring is teaching. Coaching and mentoring are, for all intents and purposes, teaching tools and techniques. In the classroom, first-rate teaching entails more than just imparting facts and figures, although that's very important. Inspired teaching, both in school settings and in the workplace, is really about stimulating students to desire learning on their own. The best educators plant the seeds of learning and hope that they get enough water and sunshine over time to sprout and grow trees of knowledge. Fact. Coaching and mentoring are art forms that unceasingly endeavor to expand everyone's knowledge base and skill levels. Knowledge is the ability to organize information into a context and practical perspective. Skills embody the application of this knowledge in performing specific tasks or job roles. The principal mission of this book is to reveal coaching and mentoring and their increasingly important role in the business sphere, as well as in offices in the sprawling public sector of the economy. Until relatively recently, let's say before 1990, the workplace was clearly differentiated from home sweet home. It was a rigidly structured environment, almost antiseptic in its activities and schedules. Generally speaking, the boss was the boss, and you did what you were told to do. You performed your everyday workload and went home near supper time, and maybe, in time, you became the boss. That was then, and this is now, the 21st century. For the preponderance of the 20th century, it was not unusual for a man or woman to labor in one job, and one job only, for an entire working life. It happened all the time. Young, wet-behind-the-ears adults graduated from high school or college, found work with a company, and were still around for the retirement parties 40 and 50 years later. And for their long-standing and loyal toiling, they received engraved wristwatches and pensions to live on until the Grim Reaper came calling. Indeed, these dedicated souls, who stayed in one place from the beginning to the end of their working life, were once upon a time lauded for their steadfastness and allegiance to the companies that employed them. And in turn, many of these employers reciprocated this dedication by not casting them aside when they sprouted their first gray hairs. It is an epoch that is long gone. 21st century workplace challenges. Today, it's counterproductive to debate whether the sedentary but stable old business world just described was somehow better than the more dynamic and unstable business world of today. No doubt this is a highly competitive and technological age, but this high-tech world notwithstanding, no time machine has yet been invented that can shuttle us back to the days when everything, it seemed, cost a nickel. So let's live our lives and move forward in the present realities. Essential. While not completely ancient history, The days of moving up the corporate ladder in the same company are fast becoming the exception rather than the rule. Nowadays, employee advancement is more often a lateral movement. Moving up, yes, but in different companies, and sometimes in totally different professions, in a dizzying zigzag rather than a straight line. Technological competency. We've established that there are no time machines on the market. There are, however, these curious contraptions called computers that are omnipresent in business environs, and everywhere else for that matter. And courtesy of this technological marvel that has spawned the expansive Internet, the corporate world is in a constant state of flux. The information age makes it altogether more imperative that businesses never rest on their laurels. Every business, big and small, must adapt to perpetually and rapidly changing market conditions, or risk falling by the wayside. Alert. To err is human. To forgive is being a coach. Forgive, yes, but coaching doesn't ever amount to overlooking performance lapses. As a coach, you must swiftly identify missteps and correct them at the source. You don't do this to embarrass a particular person, but to impart valuable lessons on avoiding similar foul-ups, bleeps, and blunders in the future. So, what exactly does this spanking new business world order mean for you, a manager or manager of tomorrow? In essence, it means that you must be a sponge for learning, with a nimble capacity to adapt to changing circumstances at a moment's notice. The new skills that are needed to keep up with all of these inevitable technological advances must become your skills. Continuous growth. Learning new skills throughout your entire work life is not only recommended, it is indispensable. College knowledge is merely the beginning, not the end of the learning curve. By keeping up with the fast-changing times, you'll prepare yourself to effortlessly slide into another job role. And if and when a job termination occurs, voluntarily or involuntarily, you don't emerge shell-shocked and stuck in quicksand. You come out of it all adept at moving on to bigger and better things, because your knowledge base and skill level are in great demand. Coaching and mentoring in today's dog-eat-dog corporate environs attempts to counterbalance, as much as humanly possible, the sometimes very unpleasant 21st century realities of work life. As a coach, your predominant mission is to, at once, broaden your own abilities along with those who work alongside you. To accomplish this noble mission, you must ply your team with substantive responsibilities, genuine challenges, and ceaseless opportunities for career growth and development of their skills. Preparing employees for a future of changes. The Boy Scouts' motto is, "Be prepared." That is, don't go out into the wilderness without the accoutrements of survival: food, bandages, mosquito spray, snakebite kit, and so on. And it's an adage applicable to the coaching and mentoring approach to managing. As already touched upon, in the contemporary work environment, you'd better be prepared to one day lose your job or change jobs by choice, and possibly in the proverbial New York Minute. But, as this whole book will demonstrate, coaching and mentoring methodologies can transform seemingly negative work circumstances into very positive experiences. Essential. Coaches recognize that employee turnover is a fact of life in the modern workplace. This sober reality, however, makes it even more vital that they fashion a work environment chock full of genuine challenges and opportunities for advancement. Coaches are charged with keeping dependable and skilled employees in the fold and encouraging outsiders to want in. Fashioning resilient workers. If you haven't been downsized, right-sized, laid off, or given a pink slip yourself, you've perhaps witnessed what happens to some of the terminated minions on the corporate landscape these days. They're often given no warning at all, their computers are unplugged, and they're summarily and unceremoniously escorted out of the workplace by dour-faced security guards. Some of the dismissed minions depart with a quiet dignity. Some leave the premises with tears freely flowing, and still others part in a peak of rage, threatening retaliation against the company or a particular manager or executive. It's the complete human spectrum of personalities and emotions revealed in a moment of crisis. Whatever the means or reasons for the discharge, it is, to be sure, a humiliating affair for all concerned. As already alluded to, coaching and mentoring practices strive to fashion an army of resilient workers, proficient at quickly getting up off the ground when they get knocked for a loop. In the final analysis, coaching and mentoring tools and techniques are all about empowering people to move forward, to take the knocks and disappointments of life on the job without looking back and without ever wallowing in debilitating recriminations. Empowering employees with knowledge and skills. Ideally, coaching and mentoring in managerial circles furnish employees with a cornucopia of knowledge and skills that those without such leadership will never receive. Why? Because those who work with a qualified coach or mentor more fully understand and appreciate the ways and means of the 21st century working world. Alert. In order to consider yourself a coach in good standing, you must always lead by example, delegate important responsibilities, listen to and freely communicate with your staff, and treat each and every one of your employees as individuals with distinct personalities and unique abilities. That is, they are not ignorant of the trials and tribulations that come with the territory, and they fully understand what is required of them to succeed. Contentedly lumbering about may suit manatees in the wide open waters of the ocean. It doesn't, however, suit employees in the demanding, results-oriented, and often very stressful workplace of today. Putting out the welcome mat. Individuals on the move reign supreme in the workforce these days, assuring that the labor pool is in a perpetual state of motion. Thus, coaching and mentoring seek to fashion, as much as humanly possible, workplace climes that encourage employees to stay put. That is, to remain in the companies that put a high premium on learning. When companies actively provide employees training in cutting-edge skills, place them in challenging job roles, and offer opportunities for promotion, relative stability is the natural byproduct. Fact. Coaching and mentoring are not some mushy managerial dictums akin to cheerleading. They are, in fact, action-oriented and engaged approaches to managing employee performance. Coaches take the tested managerial model of plan, do, check, act, and raise it to a higher level by focusing on the maximization of individual productivity. Vague promises to employees of what may, might, or could happen don't cut it anymore. While it's certainly unavoidable that there will be many changes in personnel in the overall life of any enterprise, this isn't meant to imply that fast-paced employee turnover is a positive thing and welcomed in any way, shape, or form. Both the retention and the attraction of the best and the brightest from the employee pool are coaching and mentoring's desired endgame. Enlightened management gives rise to loyalty by creating work environments that are magnets for employees with solid skills, self-motivation, and a hearty appetite for career growth and development. A business atmosphere that genuinely values and rewards achievement is where everyone wants to be, whether in managerial roles or in fledgling positions or on the bottom rung of a corporate ladder. Now more than ever, there is a bromide that rings truer with each passing day. Good help is hard to find. So, when you, as a coach, find employees who get the job done, you want to keep them in your fold as long as is humanly possible. And simultaneously, you always want to be on the outlook for fresh, energized talent. A wise coach always keeps one eye focused on today's work situation and the other eye on tomorrow's. How coaching and mentoring delivers. Why are coaching and mentoring managerial methods achieving such positive results in the most diverse places? Why are they becoming increasingly the rule and not the exception in work environments in both the private and public sectors? There are some very considerable factors why there is all this fuss about coaching and mentoring. Technology gets more technical every day. As previously noted, technological advancement is moving faster than a speeding bullet. This means that vital, in-demand job skills are constantly evolving too, as a natural byproduct of these fast and furious advances in computer programming, and other information technologies. Your technical proficiency today may well be obsolete tomorrow. And then there's the darkest side yet to this technological evolution. Computers and machines are eliminating many jobs and performing many tasks formerly the sole province of the living and breathing. Yes, it's true. Mergers and acquisitions. It seems that almost every minute of every day you hear about one business buying out another or merging with another to maximize their profitability. They accomplish this 1-2 punch by combining both their resources and know-how. Shareholders cheer, but this inevitably leads to serious streamlining, that is, elimination of human resources, real people's jobs. Essential. Delegating important job responsibilities is fundamental to good coaching. It's the best evidence there is that you believe in your employees' talents. It also means that you, the coach, are maximizing your resources, your people, while simultaneously maximizing the company's bottom line. More and more public companies these days have more and more antsy investors needing constant reassurance that they are making the right and proper financial moves. Too often, shareholder pressure results in serious cost-cutting. And you know what that means? Layoffs. Sweetening the bottom line frequently placates apprehensive investors, but leaves a lot of men and women on the unemployment line. Coaching and mentoring methods reduce both the likelihood and magnitude of such job loss, as well as cushion the shock of it when it does occur. Chapter 2. Coaching and Mentoring. Art, not science. Why coaching is not therapy. What some would call psychobabble is ubiquitous in countless quarters in today's society, so it should come as no great shock to you that some people equate coaching and mentoring with corporate managers and consultants engaged in roles more suited for psychotherapists than business professionals. This misconception has coaches and mentors handling questions and dispensing counsel far removed from job-related concerns. Alert. Coaches and mentors are not psychotherapists and should be careful not to venture down this analytical path. Even a management style that accentuates a highly personal approach should leave serious emotional and behavioral problems to those professionals specifically trained in handling them. Well, if that's what you think coaching and mentoring on the business frontier is all about, it's time to disabuse yourself of the notion. Granted, coaching is not a paint-by-numbers, rigid style of managing. Far from it. And yes, it traverses the borders of traditional managing by appreciating individuals as unique personalities with unique abilities. That is, coaching and mentoring puts a high premium on interacting with employees on a one-to-one basis to maximize their potential, both on and by osmosis off the job. Nevertheless, this plainly people-oriented managerial methodology is a far cry from managing with a therapy couch in the office. Good coaches produce results. At the risk of sounding a tad snide here, one obvious difference between coaches in business and licensed therapists is that coaches have to produce results, or else. Even if they call themselves coaches, managers who don't deliver the goods will be out of a job in a heartbeat. And with all due respect to the honorable profession of psychiatry, therapists do not have to realize any kind of quantifiable results to get paid for their services, and well paid at that. Patients can be in therapy for years, or even decades, and still be struggling with the same issues. In business settings, however, success today is the key to success tomorrow and the tomorrow after that. Be you a fossil manager or cutting-edge coach, you've got to get results in the here and now to ensure both a future for you and for those who work for you. Essential. Coaching and mentoring practices focus on self-development, and coaches and mentors, too, are expected to be in a perpetual state of learning. As a coach, you should always be coachable and open to new possibilities. The best and the brightest coaches and mentors don't ever put a cork in their thirst to acquire more knowledge and new skills. Keep in mind that coaching is results-oriented from the get-go. It's not some namby-pamby version of management. Coaching in management demands high performance and asks...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?